cash for your house no matter what condition it's in. If you
Oh my God, you guys, come in, sit down, and shut the door. I know you guys heard Diddy was asking for a mistrial. And I know you heard, first of all, Brian Steele, Diddy's lawyer, needs to remain himself. Brian mistrial Steele. Stop bringing that Fulton County mess into this good Northeast courthouse. You're not getting a mistrial. However, Diddy is begging for a mistrial. Why? Because Miss Westmoreland and all his lawyers had tried to convince us that Bonna and Cassie lied about Bonna being hung over that balcony. Even though Diddy tried to settle with Bonna. For what? Even though Cassie had text messages to KK literally being like, this is why that mofo's crazy. I need to stay away from this. But baby, Diddy's middle name is Audacity. That's how he built his kingdom. That's how he got his minions. And that's how his lawyers are being paid. Diddy's middle name is Audacity. But get this, and we're going to get into the mistrial and all the lies. And what do they have? They have a receipt from the Trump Hotel showing the check-in. Now, let me just say two things, right? One, I don't trust nothing coming from Diddy. First of all, can somebody check and make sure that receipt is actually real? Because I wouldn't put it past Diddy to go into Adobe Photoshop and be like, whoops, we didn't know. And I wouldn't put it past Mark Agnifilio. Because Diddy's whole team is, whoops, how are we to know? What do you mean, how are we to know? That's the first thing, okay? But the second thing we actually need to talk about is, and thank you, Autumn, for actually bringing this to my attention and dropping the receipts. What receipts does Diddy really have? Their whole crux of the matter is it couldn't have happened because we checked into a hotel on September 24th. You said this happened on September 26th. We checked into a hotel, Trump International, as a matter of fact. And this 100% proves that we were in New York City, and there's no way that could have happened. They showed room service receipts. They showed the hotel check-in. They showed everything. Except for the fact of, they kept revolving it around the Bad Boy reunion tour. So when Autumn sent me this information, I was a little confused. How could this be? And how are you asking for a mistrial when? Hear me out. On the 23rd, on 2016, the Bad Boy reunion tour, they were in Philadelphia, PA. I know what you're saying. Okay, Tisa, it's Philadelphia, PA. Where are you going with it? That's only 2 hours away from New York, and I believe they stayed at the Trump Hotel in Jersey, if they got one in Jersey. If not, it was probably the one in Lower Manhattan. Okay, so this is the thing, and this is on all the tour dates. Where were they at on the 24th? I want to know, where were they at on the 24th? In Boston. They performed in Boston, Massachusetts on the 24th of September. Tell me how Diddy was performing late into the evening in Boston, Massachusetts on the 24th of September when Diddy's team is also saying that they checked into the Trump International Hotel also on the 24th of September. You actually didn't come into the New York area until September 25th. You came in September 25th and you performed in the somewhere in New Jersey, right? I want to say Newark, but who knows? You performed in Newark, right? On the 25th. And then after that, there is no paparazzi photos of you in New York. There is no confirmation you were ever in New York. And there's no confirmation that you were ever at that Trump hotel. So the same way they are asking for a mistrial based off that, let's actually look into this, play the somebody lying game. And it doesn't look like it's the prosecution. First of all, there's more than enough evidence that that mess with Bonna happened. And I hope the prosecution has a response to actually show why not the plea offer, but the settlement that Rob Holiday offered to Bonna was actually offered. Okay, I hope they find a way to get that into evidence. But again,
a socialist like Zoran here tweets that the